Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's let the world know we're getting started with the live reaction. We're going a little bit early because the 100-meter just finished up. Let's let the people know on Instagram. If you're watching this, please come through on the comments. Here, let me put this up here. Olympic reaction on YouTube. All right, we're going to let the world know because here we go. What's going on, everybody? Hope that you're doing well. Not going to stay on here very long. We're going to be doing the Olympic trials reaction live over on YouTube, little post podcast. So go through over there. Link is in the story. So go through and give it a look if you'd like to join. We're going to be talking about all events in the sprint. So go on over on YouTube. Link is in the story. We're live right now. Boom. There you go. And we will see you guys there. So join the story. We'll be there a second. Peace. All right. So let's talk about that women's 100 meters. So that was really great. We got Sha'Carri Richardson, world leading time of 10.71. You got Melissa Jefferson, new personal best of a 10.80. Twanisha Terry coming in third, season's best 10.89. Excellent stuff. So first off, this was a really solid day for all of the sprints that we had going on here. So let's go to the prelims or to the semifinals of the 100 before we talk about the final here. So Sha'Carri, she still didn't look great out of that semifinal. That semifinal still wasn't looking too hot. She stumbled out of the blocks the first time. She had a bad start there. Even though she was celebrating early with the 10.86, it didn't look like the normal Sha'Carri that we'd like to see. And I was like, oh God, this isn't going to be looking good, because Melissa Jefferson, she had an awesome semifinals. Melissa Jefferson's semifinals was looking phenomenal. And so I was like, oh my God, this is Melissa Jefferson's going to win this thing. There's no way she doesn't get this. She ran a 10.88, super smooth, running a season's best, and then eventually a personal best at the end. I was like, this is going to go fantastic. Sleepy, what's going on, brother? Edward, what's going on? If you got any comments, throw them in the comments. We'd love to interact with y'all. We haven't done one of these lives in a little while. So coming out of the semis, I thought that it was going to be Melissa Jefferson winning this whole thing, and it wasn't going to be any really close, because she was looking so smooth and was executing her race perfectly under each one of these rounds. I was like, oh man, this could be it, because as you know, Melissa Jefferson changed her coach. She went from her college coach when she was over at Coastal Carolina. She competed with him or trained with him throughout her first year as a professional, and then changed coaches. She's now in Florida training with Sha'Carri and Twanisha Terry. And she didn't have a fantastic regular season. And so we'll get into those sweeps. We'll get into all them sweeps. What's going on? Very solid team. But so I was like, oh, Lord, this is not looking good for Sha'Carri, because Melissa Jefferson was looking fantastic out of those first two rounds. And I gotta also be honest with Twanisha Terry. I was not confident she was even going to make the final, to be honest with you. She has been running very poorly this year compared to her standards. She's like an elite level sprinter. And I was like, man, I don't even know if she's going to be making this final, let alone making the team. That Otto Bolden mentioned in the conversation that she had actually been having a thigh injury for most of the year, which is like, you need your thigh, your thigh if you're going to be sprinting. And so I was coming through like, this is not going to be a good experience for Twanisha Terry. I was thinking this year was going to be chalk. There's no way she makes the final. She makes the final. And then even with her in the final, I was thinking there's no way she makes the team. Like, how is she going to make the team? Because once again, she's had a poor year compared to where she's been. And so the final comes out. We got Anavia Battle, Jenna Prandini, Candace Hill, Tamara Clark, Leah Hobbs, Tamari Davis, Twanisha Terry, Melissa Jefferson, Sha'Carri Richardson. We have a very stacked team coming into, or stacked final coming in here. And really anyone can win. And if you look at the stats, everyone but 2 athletes posted either a season's best or personal best at this championship. So like when we go back to the everyone's not had a really poor year and they weren't doing well, it's like I think it just goes to show these athletes and these coaches, they know themselves a whole lot better than some of these fans, myself included, because they're putting it together when it matters the most at the championship. And so Twanisha Terry put it together, looked really good. What I was surprised with, to be honest, Aaliyah Hobbs, 1093. She's one of those 2 athletes that didn't end up putting a season's best or a personal best down at this championship. So I was a little bit nervous. I'm still, I'm wondering what's going on with Aaliyah Hobbs. Like, we haven't seen that like kind of switch. I think I see her as a person that could be that upper echelon of sprinter in the 100 and 200, or not 200, the 100 of like, hey, you're that person, you're that upper echelon, but she hasn't been able to be there, which is upsetting. Like she's done all right. She makes finals. She's consistently there, but we just don't see it make and translate into being the contenders for these Olympic golds, which is like unfortunate, but like it is what it is. So great to see for Sha'Carri Richardson, Melissa Jefferson, Twanisha Terry putting it together right there. So now we had a couple people putting these through in the comments. What does this mean for the Olympic final? Can we see a USA sweep in the Olympics with the women's 100? Man, I got to think about it. Now, this isn't my full I'm not saying whatever I'm saying here is gospel. Like, that's my pick, but it can definitely happen. We can definitely see a USA sweep potentially. Is it likely? No, it is not likely for us to see a sweep, but it can happen. Why? Let's go through why we could potentially see a sweep in the Olympics, even though it's not likely. One, the main competitors who they're going, like I'm seeing like so there's Sharika Jackson, there's Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, and there's Elaine Thompson-Herah, and I'd say Julian Alfred. I'd say those are the 4 athletes that we have to go through, right? Sharika Jackson, Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, Elaine Thompson-Herah, and Julian Alfred. Those are the 4 names of athletes I think that have the caliber to be able to beat them. And so let's go through why they could potentially do it. Well, with Shelly Ann Fraser-Price, we have not seen her run at all this year until this past weekend when she ran, and it didn't look great. It was an 11:34. And so can 3 athletes beat someone that ran an 11:34? Yes, I think that could happen. Then we have Elaine Thompson-Herah. Last time we saw Elaine Thompson-Herah on the track, she was injured. She crossed through the finish line in last or second to last and was injured, hurt her ankle. And if you're not too sure about it, you need your ankle to run. It's a pretty important aspect of being able to sprint. And so that ankle went out of there. And like, while she's trying to compete at the Jamaican trials and she's looking to do all of that, I'm not convinced that it is going to be like a good performance here. Like she's scratched the 200. She's only doing the 100. I'm not convinced she's making this team and being healthy enough. She's going to some doctors in Germany. She's doing all of that stuff. We'll have to see what it is. She ran 11:5, 11:15. Okay, great. 11:15. That would have been dead last at the Olympic trials for the USA. She would have came in 10th if she ran 11:15 at the US trials. So not great. It is not a good time, and not something like, okay, it's not an 11:3, not 11:2. You're right. It still is 10th out of all of these people. She wouldn't even made Team USA. And so like Elaine Thompson, I'm just not convinced that we're going to see something going through with her. And then you got Sharika Jackson. I mean, she's had a couple races. Her very first race that she had was not a good one. It was a very poor race that she had earlier on this year. And so then her second 200 that she had was a little bit better. And they're going into the Jamaican trials that's happening later on. But it's still not great. I think it's a possibility. Is it likely that we see a U.S. trials? I do not think that it is. But is it a possibility? I think it's 100% a possibility. Like the way that those three women were running today, like they're running well. We saw Sha'Carri Richardson drop in dimes of times despite having really poor starts. We're seeing Melissa Jefferson looking strong throughout the rounds. And despite the injury that Twanisha Terry was going through, TT Terry was going through, she was still having a very, very strong competition. So it is going to be something that I think can go really well. And people are talking about what TT Terry always chokes. I think this was the opportunity. Like, I didn't think she was going to do well. She made this team. She came in third place. She ran the season's best. So to say she always chokes is just inherently a lie based on what we just saw. So sorry to say that, but you're wrong. We just saw her make this team. She's been consistently making some teams. So like it's good. She showed up in this big moment, which is what you need. Now, the Olympics is something different. The Olympics is a whole different animal. And so what's going to look like? I don't know. And like with Jamaica, I just haven't seen you compete, man. Like it's hard for me to determine what you're going to do when I don't see you compete. It's the same thing with Fred Curley, which is why I didn't have Fred Curley on my USA team because I haven't seen him compete this year. How am I going to pick you to win the championship if I haven't seen you compete? I can't do it. It's just not a possibility. So, does she choke at World Championships? I mean, she hasn't. What did she get? I think she got into the semis last year. I mean, I can't remember the exact position. I'm sure you guys will get it. It's not on the top of my head right now, but I mean, I think the fact that she has gone through some of this stuff and been able to make it is different. Now, what is it going to look like? Now, Julian Alfred, I think Julian Alfred is the bigger name. Like, because I've seen her compete a lot more this year, more consistency with her being able to run. So it's, I think that she is someone I've seen a lot more of and who can break up that three. I feel a lot more confident in saying Julian Alfred is going to be able to break up those three than saying any of the three Jamaicans, just based off the fact I haven't seen you run or you haven't ran very well. And like, I've seen some stuff saying like, oh, it was Shelly Ann Fraser Price's opening meet. Well, it's not great when your opening meet is a week before or 2 weeks before trials. Like that means you've had some issues, you've had some difficulties going throughout the year. So, it's something hard to be able to go through. Now, who's going to be on this 4x1? I want y'all to put through, who do you think is going to be on this women's 4x1 and what will the order be? So, now, obviously, the 200 and everything can go through and change things. So this could be completely different depending on what we're going to see with the other ladies run. I think Melissa Jefferson's got to kick it off. Melissa Jefferson will 100% be the lead off for this 4x1, in my opinion. So we see her going first. Then who's going to be on that backstretch? I think on that backstretch, we're going to see either, depending on who wins, it's probably going to be Gabby Thomas, to be honest with you. I think Gabby Thomas will most likely be on that second leg for our 4x1. I think third place, or who's going to be in third, I think Twanisha Terry will probably be in third. And then we'll have fourth be Sha'Carri Richardson. That's what I'm thinking that this 4x1 is going to be, because you're going to have Melissa. She's been kicking it off. She's been doing great. She has a fantastic start, probably the best start in the U.S. So I think that she's going to be able to go through and win it. And then I've got, Gabby, that's backstretch. That's the longest leg that anyone has, like that 200, and her being the 200-meter runner. I think we're going to see a really good performance, from her, and they'll probably put her in the second leg. And then that third on that curve, Twanisha Terry, like, I don't know how great of a curve she runs. I wouldn't also be too surprised if they changed and put Gabby on the third leg, because she does run a really good curve. I wouldn't be too surprised if they put Gabby there and maybe puts Twanisha Terry on second. They could potentially do that, but I think that's who the 4 is going to be. So once again, I think it's going to be Melissa Jefferson will be on the first leg of the 4x1. We'll have probably either Twanisha Terry or Gabby Thomas on second, and then either Twanisha Terry or Gabby Thomas on third, and then Sha'Carri Richardson is going to bring it home. Let's see who some of y'all got. You got Tamari Davis, TT Terry, Gabby, and Richardson. Dang, no Melissa Jefferson. I think that's crazy. I think not having Melissa Jefferson on that 4x1 is insane. And didn't you also a second ago just say that TT Terry chokes, and now you're saying you're going to put her on set. Like, okay, you make no sense. I don't understand what you're talking about. Yeah, so I think then you got him leading off, Melissa Jefferson leading off, TT Terry on second, Gabby on third, Sha'Carri on four. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty much exactly what I'm going with. So I think that'll be where we'll probably see it. I can't remember who was in the Bahamas, who was on Team Bahamas for it, or when we had the world relays, but that's what I like. I think seeing that relay group, that'll be fire, and no one's beating us. Like, Jamaica's going to be injured. I don't even know if Jamaica's going to win, get like medal in the 4x1. I don't even know, like, for the women's 4x1, what are even some other teams that could potentially do it? I guess Cote d'Ivoire could potentially be there, but yeah. So we'll see, but yeah, I got Sha'Carri, Melissa, Gabby. Could we see Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni on that 4x1? Like, I was talking about it in a podcast earlier when it comes to Sydney McLaughlin-Lavroni. I would not be too surprised if we see her on it and she ends up putting these some people on, or getting on this 4x1, getting the what's it called? Like the Allison Felix treatment. I would not be too surprised if we see her getting on in there. Like, that's what these people do. There is there's the politics side of things. There's the who are the biggest names in our sport, who are the biggest name. I would not be surprised. I don't think you should, but I think, like, it is a possibility that they end up getting in there. It is a possibility. In what world does Jamaica not medal in the 4x1 when 3 of your people aren't running? That is a difficulty of why you may not make it in the 4x1. All right. So that is what we got for the women's the women's 100. Big win for sure. Man, Sha'Carri Richardson. Really big win for her. She goes back. I mean, even though she got DQ'd because she was, she had smoked weed before the Olympic trials. I mean, that's 2 Olympic trials in a row that she wins. I mean, now I know she hasn't had too many this is only her first Olympics, but she's been showing up. Like, she's winning these big meets now. And she had the really bad performance in 2022 where she didn't get out of round 1 in the Olympic trials. Like, she did really poor there. But outside of that, like, she's showing up, man. Like, I thought this was going to be an opportunity where she was not going to be showing up very well. Like, I thought it was going to be really difficult for her to perform and to do really well. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So I'm glad to see that she's performing. Track world is better when Sha'Carri Richardson's running well. Like, it's going to be that was a big time performance for her. Big time performance. So it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, I was wrong with Mackenzie Long making the 100. All right. You're acting. I make so many picks all the time. I'm gonna get a lot of stuff wrong. Happens all the time. I think her better event. Oh, I don't think her better event is the 200 for Mackenzie Long. So excited. I think she has a much better chance of winning or getting into that 200. That was an upsetting thing, not being able to get into the final. I thought that she was going to do that. She had a really poor start. Mackenzie in the 100 meter semifinals. She had to make up a lot of ground that she just wasn't able to make up, and that became a problem. And she was not able to translate that into having a great performance and making it into the final race, and obviously not getting a chance. So that was a tough one, but it is what it is. She's got a chance to be in this 200, and if she makes it in that 200, she'll probably I wouldn't be surprised if she's in the 4x1 prelim. I don't know if she'll be in the final unless she wins the 200. And even that, I think that it's going to be hard to put her in that final for the 200 when you do have a name like Gabby Thomas, who she's just going to be commanding, she's going to be commanding that more where, like, yo, I'm Gabby. I got a bigger name than you. I'm sorry. I'm going to kick you out. You can be in the prelim, but you ain't going to be here. So I think that'll be a possibility. So we'll have to see how that ends up going. All right, let's go on over to the men's 100. Let's take a look, see how the prelim went. So we had the prelim for the men's 100. not really anything surprising of athletes that didn't end up making it. Pretty much everyone you would expect to make it to round the semifinals made it to the semifinals. There were a few surprises, I guess you could say, within the performances that we had here. Abby Steiner, she pulled out of the 100. She is running the 200. She's been dealing with some injuries throughout the year, so I think that's going to be something that we do see. So within the 100, first, Fred Curley rocking the Oakley kit, the top and the bottom. So obviously, as we know, he's no longer with Asics. He was rocking the Nike spikes today, and that was he looked pretty good. Like Fred Curley looked like he had a pretty solid race in that 100 meters. It was the fifth fastest time of a 10:03, equal to season's best. So he was looking pretty good out there. Interesting to see who's going to sign him. Where that's going to end up being. Christian Coleman got out. Like, even though he had the second fastest time of a 9:99 today, Coleman got out in that 100. Like, he looked really good. Obviously, that's his thing. Of course, he gets out. That's what he normally does. And then he shut the brakes down like 10 meters in. Like, he visibly like just pulled up and like finished it. He was out ahead. Though the heat that he was in was a very weak heat in my opinion. So he started pulling back and got a really looking really good. Noah Lyles, Kenny Bednarik, they were both in the same heat together in heat 1. Both cruised. Like, they never had to get into that final gear. They both looked really good. Yeah, I would agree. I think Coleman looked a little bit smoother than Noah Lyles, even though Noah Lyles was looking very, very smooth as well. Like, Lyles was looking very good. Same with Kenny Bednarik. I think he was also looking very good, but that Coleman sprint, he just got out on everyone. I think it could also be a product of the fact that Christian Coleman was not racing against anyone really good at all. Like, let's take a look at where he was. So he was in heat number, what was it? He was in heat number 3, right? The next fastest person in heat number 3 ran a 10:21. Like, the bottom, some of the bottom 3 people, like some of the bottom people were in his heat. He wasn't running against too many people, like, but he had a really great start. He continued. Now it's like making sure he can replicate that, time in and time out. Now, some other names to go through when it comes to the men's 100. Christian Miller, my pick to get into the 100 meter on the 100 meter team, the high schooler. He was not looking great out of them blocks. I'll be honest with you. He was glued. His feet, like, I wish that I could see the reaction time, because he had the worst reaction time of anyone anyone today that I saw. He had the worst reaction time, but he still made it to the semifinals, which is all that you need to do. Like, his reaction time was terrible. It was probably like, if everyone's reaction time was like 0.15, his probably was like 0.25. It didn't look good, but they showed his heartbeat, like the beats per minute of what their heart rate was. They just showed it for him, and it was 135 beats per minute. So I was like, dang, like, that's like as if you're running. Like, that is pretty good. Like, which makes sense. You're a high school kid. You might be a little nervous, but once again, he got this race out, so he can calm things down, and we can see a really good performance potentially out of the next race that he's going to have, because the semifinals is tomorrow and then the finals is tomorrow night. So we'd love to see how he's going to be doing there. But if he runs like he ran today, he is not going to make the final, let alone make the team. But once again, he was glued in them blocks. You would have thought that he had some tape over his feet when he was running there, man. So we got to see where he's going through there. Did Miller make the finals? Christian Miller made the finals. He was 5th out in his heat. He ended up he ran a 10.22. Even if he like fell down another spot, he would have made it in the based on time, because the last time qualifier was a 10.28. So he would have made it. He would have made it. Do I got Quincy Wilson making the finals? Now we'll talk about Quincy Wilson in a second. So I'll get into that in a minute here. Let's finish talking about the men's 100. So yeah, like the Courtney Lindsay, he also looked very solid as well. He ran a 10:0, another season's best. And so we've been seeing very slow times throughout this entire track year so far, right? Like nobody's been running extraordinarily fast this year, but people are starting to put things together right now. And so I think we're going to see some really fast times out of this final and some really fast times of the semis. We tend to see a lot of fast times in semifinals a little bit more often, which I guess people are, still they're a little looser. They're still running fluid. So I think we'll see a fast time coming out of the semifinals, like probably a world lead if I had to guess. But it was what you would expect. It was what you would expect. You said Courtney Lindsay might sneak a spot? Yeah, I mean, like he could. I mean, there's a few people. Like if I'm basing it off of how this prelim went, of who do I think could make the team based on how this initial prelim went, I'm thinking Noah Lyles, obviously, Christian Coleman, obviously, Kenny Bednarik, obviously, Courtney Lindsay could be in there, Fred Curley could be in there, and that's really it right now. I think PJ would look like he was struggling, like he was really pushing hard to get to that finish line. So I don't know if I could have him there. And right now, based on the prelim, Christian Miller does not look like he can make the team. Once again, I still have him. I still have him making the team. I can't change my picks now, but based on the prelim, he's not looking like he's making it. But he definitely could, and I'm not going to change my pick now. So I think it's the top. Right now, it's top 5. People are fighting for it, but we'll see what it's going to end up being. Right now, I'm not changing my picks. I got Christian Coleman winning. He looked very smooth. I like him having his chances there. Noah Lyles coming in second, and then Christian Miller I had in that third spot. So the men's side looked good. We'll be interested to see what Fred Curley's going to end up, where he's going to end up being. Like, I don't have him picking, but I just don't see him missing. Like, I feel it's going to be really hard for him to miss the team. Like, but I don't have him make, like, I don't know. I don't know. Kenny Bednarik, though, too, he's the silent assassin here, man. Like, Kenny is the silent assassin. Like, I think he could put something together. Like he's super smooth at the way that he's running. He's not commanding a ton of attention. He's just going out there. He's doing what he needs to do, and he's performing at a high level. And so, could he end up being on this team as well? Like, yeah, like he looked really good in the way that he ran there. A really solid 10-0. He wasn't straining, and he's been vocal on the things of like, yo, I'm coming to win. Like, I'm coming here to win championships and bring home victories. And like, I believe that, man. Like when I had my interview earlier with him, like dude is all business. Like that is what that man cares about. So I think we can see a really good time for him. So semifinals, that's going to be happening tomorrow. Get ready for that. And then obviously the finals to close out. We'll be doing the same type of thing tomorrow night as well. So you like this, we'll be doing the same thing after tomorrow. So hopefully you all enjoy. Also, Fred Curley mentioned that it was world record next time he touches the track. He did not break the world record, but it also was a prelim, so I'll give him some credence. I'm considering this next race in the semifinals to be the next time he's on the track. So I need to see something here, Fred. I need to see that world record, that 9.4 coming through. Let's see if you can put it through, put it together. I'll give you I'll even give you this whole meet. If you get the world record at the Olympic trials, I'll be like, yo, you were right. I was completely wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. I want to see it. That would be crazy. The way that he ran this championship, I don't know if I would put him at world record. I mean, American record, that even would be tough, but let's see. Coleman winning gold in Paris. He could. I mean, it is so open right now. Like if anyone says like, no, I know who's winning, this is the person that's winning, they're lying. Like there are so many people that could win this Olympic gold in the 100. It is ridiculous. So we'll have to see how that's gonna end up going. All right, let's go and finish some stuff up here. I saw some other comments earlier talking about Quincy Wilson. Can he make the 400 meter team? The high school phenom, after running a 44, what was it, a 44.66? Bro, 44.66 at 16 is ridiculous. That's bonkers. Like, man, Aaron, stop. Stop, Aaron. Marcel is not winning gold. Stop. Like, he's not. It's not happening. It's not happening. Like, no, it's not happening. He ain't winning it. I think the people that could potentially win the 100 meter, I think the USA, and anyone who has it for the USA could potentially do it. Then oh man, why am I drawing a blank? Guy from South Africa. What's his name? The guy from South Africa, not Sean, the other dude. I am drawing a huge blank. You guys will say it in a second, but I got him. He could potentially do it. I don't think he will, but I think there's potential there. We'll have to see. Then after that, I mean no, Omanyala. I don't think Omanyala is going to win it. Omanyala is I need to see him run. Simbine, thank you. Akane Simbine. That's what it was. I had a huge brain fart. Couldn't remember what it was. Omanyala, I do not have winning the 100 meter for the Olympics. We haven't seen him do anything outside of Kenya. So why would I now think that he's going to do it? Now, in my podcast, if you listen to it, this year is different. The way that Omanyala is running this year is different from how he was running in years past. So all of his fast times are either A, in the very early in the season, and he was running world leads in the early part of the season, or B, he was running world leads after the major championships. And he was not doing anything really well in the month of June. This is the first time he's running really well in the month of June. And so it's it's different than what he had done in the past. And so, excuse me, sorry. Could we see that change a little bit where, this is going to be a different year? Potentially. I need to see it, but there's potential there. So we'll have to see. When have we seen Marcel show up healthy and not win? Well, how many times have we seen Marcel show up healthy? Aaron? Oh, the Olympics last year. So this is something that frustrates me. All right. People are like, oh my God, the best ability is availability, right? If you're not available to compete, then it doesn't matter how good you are if you can't compete. For example, Kawhi Leonard, he is never on the court. So it doesn't matter how great of a basketball player you are if you're always injured. Anthony Davis was never on the court. He had a really healthy year this year, but he's never on the court. And so it doesn't matter how talented you are if I don't see you there. Marcel Jacobs is not healthy consistently. And that is something you have to take into consideration. You can't just say, oh, well, barring, assuming he's healthy, no, it's part of his narrative. It's part of the story. And so now, for example, if you were to say, if Noah Lyles isn't injured, he's going to win the 100. That's fine. Injuries isn't a part of his story. Injuries can happen to anybody. It could happen to literally anyone, but it's not like someone that's chronically injured. Marcel Jacobs he's been injured consistently throughout his career. And so to say, assuming he is healthy, he's going to win it is not something that is fair to assume because we don't see it at a consistent rate. He's been hurt since he's beat Coleman in the indoors. Now Marcel is healthy and running fast. He ran, what was it, a 10-13? He ran a 10-0. If that's healthy, I don't know. I don't know. We've seen people run these one or two races and then it's not been something that's consistent. I think I don't know. I don't know if he's healthy. I haven't seen him run too much, but I'm not taking Jacobs as my Olympic champion. I don't have him on the podium. Maybe I'll have him on the podium. We'll have to see how he's doing later on. We ran 992. Okay, good. I might have missed that. Thank you for correcting me. I know we ran something at the European Championships. I couldn't remember what it was. So I still maybe he might be able to get third, but I don't got Jacobs in the winning this thing. I don't think it's possible. I don't think he's going to do it. Aaron's just not going to say Noah's going to be up there because he's a professional hater for Noah Lyles, even though he knows deep down in his heart he's going to beat Marcel Jacobs. But we'll have to see there. Now, yes, Oblique Seville. Oblique Seville he's sneaky good right now. Dude is extraordinarily quiet as well. We don't hear a lot from him. similar with Akeem Blake, but like he's someone that you got to watch out for as well. Like he is also an extraordinarily good. He puts up big times against big time athletes, and so he's got a possibility of popping some crazy time. Like what I think he came in 4th at the Olympics last time, or was it the World Championships? You know, he's been up there. He performs well at these major meets. Could this be his year? Potentially. Zarnell Hughes. Now, the big thing with him is don't false start. Like saying, oh, if Marcel Jacobs isn't hurt, he's going to perform well. That's like saying, yeah, if Zarnell Hughes, you know, if he doesn't like false start, like that's part of his narrative. Like he has false started at multiple things. So you can't just take it out of a narrative. Like now, if he goes through it, like he's had some really good races. That 150 that he did in Atlanta was a really good race. Like he's performing very well right now, and I think that he could also be someone that you gotta watch out for. Watch out for Zarnell Hughes. So I'd say those are kind of the people as of right now who'd I have at potentially winning it, but we'll go through. We'll wrap this thing up. We got a few more things that we're going to talk about, and then we're going to wrap it up because it is late right now. But 400 meter, Quincy Wilson. Some people ask, can Quincy Wilson make the team in the 400 as a high schooler? After that prelim and a 44.66, it is a possibility because we've seen him run fast multiple times in one day with the 4x4 at Penn Relays. He's done it in the past. It is something he can do. So yes, he is a high schooler, but he's running loose. He said, dude, this is all icing on the cake. This is all crazy. So like he could potentially do it. Now top 3, I don't think top 3. I think he can make the team by getting into the final. And if you get into the final, you're on the relay pool. And I think he could potentially be in the mixed 4x4, you know, like a mixed 4x4 prelim maybe or whatever. I think he could do that. But I don't know if he's going to get top 3 because he's going to have to run even fat. Like 44.66 is not going to win the Olympic trials. Like you're going to have to run faster than that. I don't know how much faster, you know, he's going to end up going there. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Shamir Little, she ran in the semis. She said that she wasn't going to run in the semifinals in the 400 meters, but she did well. She won. Will she make the team in both? We'll have to see. That'll be a good one. That'll be a good one. But that is going to be. You have Quincy winning the meet with a 43.88. Okay, so with that, Aaron Brown is going nuts. 43.88 from a 16-year-old kid. That would be diabolical. All right. Thank you all for watching and listening today. Tomorrow we have a big day. Let's take a look at some of the events that we have on Sunday. What do we got going on here? So the 100 meter semifinals start at 8:48 p.m. This is all Eastern Standard Time. We then have the women's 400 meter final at 9:58. So watch out for that. And then we got the men's 100 meter final at 10:49. That's going to go well. I have Kaylin winning. I don't think Talitha Diggs made it to the final, which is upsetting. I had her up there. So Talitha not making it. That was unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. So it's Kaylin Brown, Kendall Ellis, Aaliyah Butler, Shamir Little, Lena Irby Jackson, Alexis Holmes, Jasmine Ford, Quinera Hayes, and Isabella Whitaker that are going to be making it to the final. All right. So that's everything. We will see you tomorrow, same time. We'll have the podcast reaction to the men's sprint, the men's 100. So hope that you like this. So drop some comments if you like this. Is this something that you enjoyed? We might do a couple more of these throughout the Olympic trials, maybe after the 200s as well. But that's going to do it for us here. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Peace.